Hey everybody, Thomas Joseph here, and for today's kitchen conundrum, I am tackling the soggy waffle. Now, I'm sure you've encountered this some Sunday morning where you have these soggy, limp waffles, but today I'm going to show you a recipe that will yield a perfect, crisp on the outside, but fluffy on the inside waffle that you will be making every single weekend. Now, to start this off, I'm going to make my own buttermilk. So I have 1.5 cups of whole milk, and to that I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of distilled vinegar. You could certainly use 1.5 cups of buttermilk, but it's also nice to learn how to make it yourself. So just give this a quick stir, and this should sit for about 5 minutes. While that sits, I have 2 extra large egg yolks in the bottom of the bowl here. If you have only large eggs on hand, you can use 3 egg yolks. And to this, I'm going to add 3/4 of a cup of sour cream. Now, sour cream and buttermilk, they're very important here because they're acidified, and that acidity is going to help in leavening the waffle and making it nice and fluffy when we add our baking soda. And try to make sure that your ingredients here are at room temperature, because if you have cold ingredients, it's going to bring the temperature of the waffle iron down too far, and you're not going to end up with a perfectly crisp and risen waffle. So I'm going to mix together my yolks and my sour cream here. And now I'm going to add a cup of all-purpose flour. I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of coarsely ground cornmeal. Now, this gives you a wonderful crunchy texture. A teaspoon of baking soda here. I'm going to mix this together. And now I'm going to add my homemade buttermilk. And you can see after a few minutes, it gets nice and chunky, and it's perfect and ready to go. So I'm going to add this in. I'm going to switch to a whisk. It's a little easier to incorporate the batter. Now, a tip when making waffles, when making pancakes, is not to over stir the batter. If there are small lumps in your batter, that's perfectly okay because they will dissipate in the cooking process. And now I'm going to add 5 tablespoons of salted butter that I've melted and cooled. You could certainly use unsalted butter and just give it a good pinch of coarse salt, and you'll be just fine. So mix this butter in nice and thoroughly. And now for the last step and the last leavening agent, I'm going to whip 3 extra large egg whites to stiff peaks. It really only takes a few minutes, and these are nice and stiff, perfect to now fold into our mixture. So I'm going to take half of the whipped egg whites and stir them gently. And what this does is it lightens the batter, so it makes it easier to fold in the rest of the egg whites. I'm going to fold in the rest of my whipped egg whites. And at this point, you really don't want to over mix the batter because little pockets of egg white will really help to leaven the waffle. Now I have a waffle iron heating here, high heat, and spray with some non-stick cooking spray. And now I'm going to ladle in my batter about 3/4 of the way, close the waffle iron. I'm gonna rotate this just because this is the style of the waffle iron I have. And now this is going to cook for 6 minutes. Now you don't wanna peek at the waffle because this is kind of similar to a souffle. All of those egg whites are expanding with the heat. So if you disrupt the heat, it's going to collapse. A good way to gauge whether your waffle is done or not is the steam. If there's still a lot of steam billowing out of your waffle iron, that means that it's not ready yet. So you can use that as a gauge. It's been about 6 minutes. Our waffles look nice and golden brown. I like to use a little wooden skewer to help lift the waffle out. And now a little trick to keep the waffle nice and crisp. Toss the waffle in between your hands. It lets the steam escape. You could also use a wire rack to help with that because it has airflow underneath, so the steam is escaping and it's not creating a sogginess on the bottom layer of the waffle. So I'm going to use a pair of scissors here, and you can hear how crisp these waffles are just by cutting them. Serve them up while they're warm. And there you have it. I'm gonna forego the butter today, but a little bit of maple syrup is one of my favorite things whenever I'm having waffles. If you like fruit, maybe some berries. An easy recipe for crisp yet fluffy and delicious waffles. This will be a part of your weekend repertoire, I am sure of it. If you have any kitchen conundrums that you need solved, write in the comment section below or reach out to us using the hashtag kitchen conundrums and we will solve whatever kitchen problems you may have.